DJ PK and Kevin Graham joins us on a Football Friday. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hello, DJ. Hello from L.A., I'm assuming, PK. Hope you guys are well today.
Good assumption.
Good assumption, and we are.
PK's got that. You know how I know PK's not on the road, right? I don't know if you guys are promoting this, but I think you should because he's in LA. He's ready for the big game. He's got that deep, low kind of like I woke up earlier than I should voice. So I'm very impressed. You know what I mean? So it's like I admire that voice. I miss that voice, because I don't have a deep voice, obviously. So there we go.
The time zones are working against me, voice.
Yes, exactly. That 1 hour difference just changes his whole life. I get it.
It really does.
Yeah, they need to play more games in the Eastern time zone, then I can sleep later.
PK's going to BYU at East Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Now that I live in the East Coast, though, I hate the Eastern time zone. As you guys know and have pointed out, all the moves I made from the multiple times in Salt Lake and out west, in San Francisco and Phoenix, Central time zone in Dallas and East Coast time zone in New York and all the other places I've been, I can't stand the East Coast time zone. Like, I'm looking at my schedule this weekend to watch football, and I want to watch the Utah-UCLA game, and that game doesn't kick off till 11 p.m. tomorrow night. It's like, geez. I'm telling Mountain Time's the best. Like, that's my number one time zone, followed by Pacific, and then Central, and then East Coast is just the worst. So
there it is. List Radio. We just rank time zones. I like it. Good work.
Yeah, I know, right?
I've lived in 3 of the 4, and, yeah, I hear you, man. When I was a kid, I used to, when Monday Night Football was it, my parents would let me stay up for the first half.
Yep. Oh, yeah. You couldn't stay up because of school the next day, and it's like, And then I tell you, West Coast is a little early. 9 a.m. college football is early, but, I guess Mountain knows 10 a.m.
I got family in Hawaii, and I asked my cousin about he's a huge football following the NFL, and he goes, Monday Night Football is a big deal in the islands because the Sunday stuff is largely too early. I mean, Sunday Night Football too, but it's just too early. Yeah. So these primetime games are where it's at for them. And so when we've been out there, you go out there, school ends, so you go out there in June. Well, the NBA Finals are on. I want to watch them, but it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's so disorienting. Afternoon NBA Finals. What are we doing?
Yeah, but it's never been easier. You can watch them on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. Well, I got friends overseas now. I got a friend of mine from Utah, actually. He lives in Thailand now, and he's all out of whack. Like, he's in the middle of the night and trying to watch. He's a big Ute fan, and it's like, man, So anyways, but you know what? College football is here. One team, I was listening to you guys after Boise State embarrassed themselves last night. I don't know if you guys mentioned this team. Keep an eye on Toledo, all right, out of the MAC. They're very, of course, I'm a big MAC proponent because I went to Central Michigan. It's a MAC school. We're taking on San Jose State tonight in the Bay. Go, fire up chips. But Toledo plays Kentucky tomorrow in Kentucky, and they also have Washington State on the schedule. And they're usually a really good MAC team. And the MAC played well last night. I don't know if anybody followed. Probably not. I only followed because I made a bet, parlay bet. That actually $5 bet won me $35. I was very happy about that. Not that that's legal in Utah, but Ohio played really extremely tough. Rutgers only lost by 3 in Rutgers. Minnesota, Buffalo hung around with Minnesota. Miami of Ohio was only down 3-0 to Wisconsin at the half. Ended up losing 17-0. So don't count out the MAC. Although the MAC always does play pretty well against the Big Ten, particularly the lower Big Ten teams.
Bigger news to you on Thursday that Boise State gave up 34 unanswered and lost and just got blown out at USF, or that Jerry, who usually beefs with the star and then at the end gives him the money, decided, I'm trading. I'm making a move here.
Yeah, obviously the Micah move. I mean, that's huge on the NFL front. I look at it 2 ways on this. I mean, obviously they got into it. Jerry Jones doesn't want to deal with an agent. I mean, why he thinks that you can't deal with an agent in this day and age, I have no idea. I think he's losing his mind a little bit, which is okay. He owns the team. He's got the money. I think it's not a terrible trade for both teams. I mean, for Dallas, it just shows, Jerry Jones cracks me up as a used car salesman. We need to stop the run. That's why we're going to be better because of this trade. Well, you still need to rush the quarterback. So you just gave away the best pass rusher, the best defensive player, arguably, in the entire NFL. So you're not going to be better. You're going to be worse. But let's face it, the Cowboys aren't going to win a Super Bowl this year anyways. Dak Prescott, I'm not a believer in him being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They have too many holes. It was just not going to happen. So with that said, they did get 2 first-round picks out of it, and they did get a good run stopper, in the defensive tackle they got as well, Kenny Clark. So, he got some value for him. The problem is if you're a Cowboys fan, Jerry Jones is the general manager, so he's going to be the one making those first-round picks over the next couple of years and have first-round picks. So you can't have any faith in what goes on. But I don't fault him for at least getting some value for him. As for the Packers, they're all in. They haven't had a double-digit pass sacker, someone with double-digit sacks in the season since 2020. Now they have one. Now their defense is going up a level in a division. Arguably, it was the best division in football last year. But Minnesota, I think, is going to go backwards a little bit, depending on how J.J. McCarthy plays, since he didn't play any games last year because of the injury. And the Lions, I think, are going to go backwards a little bit. Just even though they're going to get most of their team back, I mean, you got to remember Lions were completely decimated by injuries last year, and that led to them getting blown out by the Commanders, in the playoffs. So, but they lost both coordinators, so you have to think the Lions are going to tick back a bit. If Jordan Love can be healthy and live up to expectations, I mean, Green Bay, the division's for the taking now. As long as Parsons gets in shape quick, is ready to go. Sometimes these pass rushers, if you don't practice, you don't participate in camp, it'll take you a few weeks to ramp up. So I'll be interested to see what happens. But, I mean, I give Jerry Jones credit for at least getting value for Parsons, but you also have to give him a lot of crap for the fact that he just traded away a 26-year-old, perhaps best defensive player in the league, who obviously would have provided a lot of value for his defense. So, time will tell how this will play out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a great move for the Packers. I'm not sure I believe in Jordan Love any more than I believe in Dak Prescott. Remains to be seen.
True.
But at the same time, the situation with the Cowboys, they weren't going to win with Micah Parsons anyway, as you just said. So What really did they lose as a team in terms of their status in the division, in the conference, and in the league? I'm not sure that it's any worse than it already was. They're still fighting an uphill battle. So maybe if they use the picks, and he threw out, speaking of Jerry Jones, he threw out the name Herschel Walker, and we all remember that. Now I think that's overstated because I don't know that you can count on that, and that other thing is already sealed and done, and it's historic, and it really worked out. But I sort of see what he's thinking. If I'm Green Bay, I'm over the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going for it if you're Green Bay. I mean, you're all in because you've just given up your first-round picks for the next 2 years.
So Kevin, rank the top teams in the NFC now, not by division, just who's most likely to go to Super Bowl? Who are your top 3 or 4 in order?
In order. Ooh, let me hold on a second. Let me just pull this up. I just want to see the teams so I don't forget and miss anybody. I still put the Eagles at number 1. Because I think head to toe they're the best team, but I do agree with what you said, DJ, last hour, that it's hard to repeat, very difficult to repeat. But I think talent-wise, I believe they're number 1 in the mix. After that, I think it's kind of a cluster. I mean, now the Packers have to be in that boat. No team from the NFC South. The South sucks. The 49ers keep being talked about, but Purdy, I think, is a really good quarterback. But the Niners also have had to they gave up a lot of veterans this past year, so I don't think they're a guarantee. So really, I mean, if I had to rank,
Washington?
I got to go Eagles 1, Packers 2 now, I guess.
Washington
Commanders
and the Rams.
3.
What about Washington and Rams? Yeah, Commanders and Rams.
Rams, yes, Rams, right, but is Stafford going to be healthy? That question mark. So, I mean, the Rams, I think, could be in there. I mean, I guess the Buccaneers, you can kind of slide in there, but I think that's the next tier. So, That's a great question, DJ. As you look at it now and just stare at these teams, I mean, it's wide open if you ask me. And with the Eagles, I think having the advantage just because they do have the most talent. What do you think?
I think Philly still won. You got to dethrone the champs, but man, things can really work against you. You know, you need some breaks to win it all, and it can backfire the next year. I think Green Bay 2, Washington 3. LA 4, maybe. It feels to me like the San Francisco window's that's pretty much done. They won't be a terrible team. They'll be a good team. They can be a playoff team, but Super Bowl, man, they've had a lot of players coming and going, and they got older players, got health injuries. I just think it's rough for them. I'm with you. I don't think anybody out of the South is going to do it. The team we're leaving out here is Lion fans. Like, what? You lost both coordinators. Actually, I could probably put the Lions and the Rams 4 or 5, and the Niners below them at 6. And I think Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy just have a good year. Hopefully he plays well and you get some playoff experience, but I just don't see them as a Super Bowl contender right now. No way.
No, I don't think so either. I think that's right on. You know, and the AFC's pretty wide open too if you think about it. Everybody just assumes the Chiefs, but that window, you have to wonder and watch when that's going to finally kind of dissipate. I mean, we saw that last year. Now they got blown out by the Eagles. So, Chargers, I think, are up and coming. Again, Broncos. Interesting enough, the South sucks. Yeah, that's right. You got to put the damn donkeys in there. Buffalo obviously is a team but you keep wondering, if they're ever going to get over the hump to do that. Ravens, Lamar Jackson, is he actually going to finally, get over the top in the playoffs? So, that's the great thing about the NFL. I think college football is in the same direction nowadays because of the transfer portal. I mean, everything's up in the air. No one expected Boise State, the number one team out of the lower 5, the favorite to get in the playoffs, get blown out 34-7 last night. So, right or wrong, remember we said these debates, do you miss the dynasties? Well, I think it's fun that every year you can go into the season now, and at least in NFL for most teams, and in college football nowadays, at least a big chunk of teams, and have a shot.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you think that is the definition. Obviously, you describe it of the NFL. If that's the definition now for the Big 12 too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you saw that last year, with your team, with Arizona State jumping up, and winning after a lot of people didn't predict that to happen. That's why BYU fans and Utah fans, I think, have to come in with a lot of optimism coming season. I'm excited to see what Utah does tomorrow night against UCLA. Now, you have to bridge this. UCLA is in the bottom, 4 or 5 teams in the Big Ten. So realistically, Utah has to go in and win that game. I mean, they are the favorite. That's going to be a big game for them. Because if they go in, if Utah goes in and just blows out UCLA, I don't know if I could see that happening. But if they do that, then Utah is going to jump. People are going to look at that because of those 4. Even though UCLA is in the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the Big Ten, it's still a Power 4 school that has some recognition to it. So that's going to be a huge win. Now, obviously, BYU, Portland State, whatever. BYU's got to go and blow them out just because they're expected to. But it's going to be it's wide open. The Big 12 is wide open. Even me being born from West Virginia, and Rich Rodriguez being back there, they have no hope because I think the whole team's they transferred, but they're going to win some games. They're going to knock some teams off because that's just going to be how competitive I think the Big 12 is from top to bottom. I don't know if they have the elite team. That's the one thing about the Big 12. Have that one elite team that can actually win a national championship. I don't see it, but it's going to be fun to watch this season. And then at least with the playoff system now, there's a shot. Everybody's got a shot to make a move. I mean, Arizona State, it was sitting there for them last year against Texas, I believe, right? I mean, it was sitting there, and they just couldn't get over the hump.
Right.
BYU is playing a freshman quarterback. Portland State just lost to Tarleton State 42-0. So I can't imagine there's going to be any competition here. Given that, what do you want to see from the freshman quarterback making his first start, knowing full well his second, third, and fourth starts are going to be more revealing, but we've got the game in front of us, we got in front of us, so what do you want to see?
I want to see him come out poised. I want to see him not have those freshman jitters, which I think is going to be hard for him just because, naturally he's going to have it. Is he going to be a good leader? Is he going to be able to hit, start him slow, start with the short stuff, get his confidence going. Then let's see how can he make some of the intermediate and longer reads. In this game should be put out of reach quick. It should be. After the first quarter, they should be fully in control of this game. And then I think you can play a little bit. Let him take some chances with him. Work with him a little bit. Get his confidence going. That's what I want to see. Plus, I just love the name Bear. When you guys have Hank on, if you guys are still having Hank on later in the show, the oldest brother, I guess, who I know was a pretty good college. Just ask him how he feels about the fact that his younger brothers were named Bear and Tiger, and he's just Hank. You know what I mean? I kind of feel bad for the guy because he's Hank. You know what I mean? And meantime, I picture Hank just sitting in the corner eating oatmeal in the morning while raw meat is being thrown to Bear and Tiger every morning just because, he's Hank. Hank's a great name, by the way, man's name, but I kind of feel bad for him that he didn't get an animal name.
I think Hank is a grandfather name who I think he died in the military, if I remember the story. It's a family name, so it does mean something a little bit more. It wasn't just, well, what should we name him? How about Hank? Okay, I think there was some meaning there. PK. I don't know about the tiger and the bear. Way to ruin the
joke there. It made me feel bad. I appreciate that. Way to go.
I wanted to put that out there because I think it's been broadcast or written about or both in the Salt Lake media, so a lot of our listeners would know it. I don't remember the specific detail, but it is named for, I believe, his father's father, if I remember. Maybe off by generation, but I think that's what it is there. And then also
they've got a name.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hank's like Nick. Hank's like your buddy. He's your pal. Hank's the one that's helping you out every day. So I'm all good with that. Question is, where did Bear and Tiger from? I guess that's my. Did they? Well,
they got a younger brother who's
a
ninth grader who's a quarterback. I don't know if he's playing at the varsity level yet, but his name is Buck.
Buck. Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, apparently they're hunters or something, so that's good. Okay.
Buck. And they have a sister who plays volleyball, and she's named Dandelion.
You're lying, right? Please tell me you're now joking.
I don't know what the sister's name is.
I had to draw the line there. I'm like, really? No. You kidding?
I couldn't get it past him.
Is Buck really real or no?
Buck is real, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, gotcha. Got it. Buck. All right, awesome. Well, good. We'll tell Hank I said hello.
Well, there's a lot of famous Hanks out there. You're not going to dump on Hank Aaron.
No.
You're not going to dump on Hank
the most normal
Stram.
Name of
Hank Stram, Super Bowl champion turned broadcaster.
Hank is the most normal name in that family. Now my whole thought process has changed. Hank is all right.
You've already mentioned the odds this morning. You remember Hank Goldberg, right? Always on handicapping games.
Oh, yeah. Well, now we're going to go listing off all the famous Hanks.
Let's go. Good. Famous Hanks.
Well, we got to throw in Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Nice.
But the point is the other family names are Bear, Tiger, and Buck. So that's that's good. Good for them. That's great.
I actually, what I think is a good thing for this young man and for BYU, obviously he comes from a football family, and I think that matters to an extent that you grow up in it. And his older brother there had played football at the quarterback position. So I didn't have a younger brother, but you'd think that he sort of looked up to him and maybe trailed him when he was working out and went to practices and whatnot, that type of thing. So like the Mannings, Arch, clearly he was going to be destined to do this, right? He had, and our state here, we got golfers that they grow up. It's what they do. The family is a golfing family. I've seen it on the male side and I've seen it on the female side, and that's what they do. And they end up being good golfers, both of them, on both sides of the spectrum, male and female, right? Because that's just what they do. And here, you'd look at it, maybe that's what the Bachmeyers do. They play football. So this has been expected of Bear now to do this thing because he had two older brothers, because Tiger's a little older, go ahead and play college football. So maybe he's not going to be overwhelmed by the situation because this is something he's been doing the whole time.
Well, I think that's a great point. And I think to sum it all up, let's face it, he's a freshman and he's going to be a starting quarterback at one of the most renowned college football quarterback schools in the entire country for decades. And he's in a Power 5 or Power 4 rather school starting as a freshman at BYU. And BYU, again, we all know this, one of the most scrutinized positions to play there too. I mean, that I think is going to be the interesting part of, can BYU fans be patient with him because he is a true freshman. And we sometimes know that BYU fans, particularly at the quarterback position, and me working there multiple years and being on the air for the complaints about Riley Nelson and all the other great, Shoemaker. Was it Shoemaker? Remember the big controversy back in the 90s or something? I mean, all these big, all these big quarterback controversies and the scrutiny that's placed on the quarterback, fans are going to have to give him some time because he is a freshman. But B, everything you just said, I think, just sums up why he's a true freshman starting quarterback at BYU.
Kevin, as always, we appreciate it. List radio for time zones, ranking NFC contenders after a big trade, famous people named Hank. We covered a lot of ground.
We did, and I'm very excited for the weekend, and I'm ready to roll. And then next weekend, guys, it's NFL time. We'll be full bore into NFL world as well. So it's a great time of year. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you, Kevin. Look forward to it.
See you guys. Have a great weekend.
Kevin Graham on Football Fridays right here on The Zone. And he's right about Hank Bachmeier. He will be joining us coming up at 9:30, 1 hour from now. The former Boise State, Louisiana Tech, and Wake Forest quarterback, older brother of Bear and Tiger, is here in an hour to talk college football and talk about BYU's opener. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
It's game week for the Aggies, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. Utah State will kick off the 2025 season with a battle at Maverick Stadium against UTEP. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Aggie football and your chance to win tickets to the game. Then, catch all the play-by-play action, beginning with the Aggie pregame show this Saturday at 4:30 on 1280 The Zone. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Don't miss your chance to win big every week on The Zone. This week on Win Ticket Wednesday, win tickets to Utah State Fair, September 4th through the 14th. Where can you find a big yellow slide, the best corn dog in the world, a butter sculpture, arts and crafts, a rodeo, a demolition derby, and a legendary rock band, just to name a few? Nowhere but the fair. Listen to The Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win.
I used to work at a big yellow slide down the shore.
Yeah? Good stories?
I was just a youngster, and I've talked to you about my mentor who ended up being a very powerful guy in the world of soccer in Arizona, and he's from Jersey, and he was the manager of that slide in the summer. So I would go down there and work, and I had the crappiest job, but I was the youngest, so I was in heaven. I made money.
All right.
Yeah.
I always see those videos, people trying to go down on their knees and that stick and they face plant and they flop all over the place.
Yeah, I was in charge of getting the bags, and then you put them through the washer or the dryer, I should say, because it was humidity and it'd be wet, and so they had to be dry and all that. I did have one funny story. Most of the guys that were all college kids at the time that were working there, so they were in their early 20s, and so they'd have guys at the bottom to help people up, and then they'd have guys at the top to help them, sit down, you sit on your butt and all. And the one guy who was at the top was trying to get attention of the guys at the bottom, and I actually was up at the top at that time. And so he's yelling to the guy, and the guy's first name was Neil, and we both looked down, and he's screaming Neil, and we look down, as a 12-year-old girl, instead of sitting on her butt, she's kneeling.
Neil!
and he's yelling it because it's a little bit of ways down. It's a drop.
Yeah. And if there's a little noise or a little wind or both, sure.
Oh, yeah. And it's a commotion, the boardwalk. There's lots of stuff going on, right? And so he had to yell, like, kneel 3 times
Kneel!
to get them.
The 12-year-old kid's like, well, okay.
Of course, if he wanted her to kneel, he would have told her, bent down and got close to her
the person
ear.
standing right next to you at the top would have. Got a question up on our on Twitter here. David DJ James, BYU should power past Portland State, but will Utah beat UCLA? Will USU give Bronco a win in his debut versus UTEP? 50% of the people think it's going to be a clean sweep, PK. 35%
awesome.
think the Utes are going to lose and the Aggies are going to win. The odds of the Aggies winning seem very high. Bronco starting off with a W. How about that?
I think there's a lot of people who believe in Bronco. You know, he's made a name for himself now in various parts of the country, obviously. And the track record is pretty doggone good. And, you know, we had him on. We'll have him on during the season. I love interviewing the guy. He reminds me of not as folksy Pablo Mastroeni in terms of he's into all aspects of coaching. He doesn't bore you with X's and O's. He talks about getting into the people to find out who they are and figure out ways to get them to perform to the best of their ability. And I find that stuff fascinating because the word coach, it's applied in various different aspects of the world. It's not exclusively to a sports situation avenue anymore, right? And what does that mean? Well, the word coach, man, put a definition in a hat and you probably put in 50 definitions and pick out which one and to figure out how to push all the right buttons and all that stuff. So he's got it going on in terms of being able to do that. But you know, when you bring in 70 guys, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we'll find out. That's the great thing about it is all these things. We'll find out. Is Jason Beck going to be a hot young coordinator who is just going to be one of the better hires they've made? They've had a slew of offensive coordinators. It's not exactly the most secure position in college football to work. I mean, let's call it like it is. It's a fact, right? At Utah, they change, and they change often. And here we go again. And what does this mean? Is it a great hire? Well, we'll get an opportunity to find out over these next 12 weeks and games anyway, and a little more than that with a bye or two. And so we've got all that stuff, and we get to see it, and we get to make a real evaluation Saturday night at 9 o'clock, a little earlier for the Aggies. And Bryson Barnes, now that he's settled in, he's the undisputed starter. He knows every week, man, at least for now anyway, that he is the starter, and he's known this for weeks, and he can prepare for this. I mean, this is a kid who's worked for this for many, many years to be in this position, and he finally has it. He did get to play at Utah and played last year a little bit, but now he's the undisputed starter. And what does that mean for him, and what can they do offensively? Can they find a running game? You know, they had a real good running back last year who took off. He went to South Carolina, I think it is, and away we go here. And, you know, this Nelson kid was the number 1 recruit in the country coming out of Southern California quarterback, and he's bounced around. This is his 3rd school. Can you believe it? 3rd school. And has this opportunity. What can you do? I mean, if you're good enough, you can get to the NFL from anywhere, and UTEP included. So, man, I love these types of games. BYU, it's the one big intrigue is Bachmeier. No, I don't think there's any other intrigue into that game in terms of anything that we can draw from, right? But Bachmeier, if they had Retzlaff, this would be a total snoozer.
There'd be nothing to watch or talk about.
Yeah.
And even now, there's very little, but just how Bear Bachmeier carries himself, how he runs the offense, the confidence level. And it goes back to that quote you got a long time ago with another quarterback. I think it might have been Max Hall before his debut. You know, he's got confidence. It's false confidence, but it's confidence, the coach said. Well, I think whatever Bear gets out of this game, it's better to play a college game than not. But, I mean, clearly the bar goes way up the next week against Stanford. It's going to go up when they go on the road for the next 2 games after that, including the conference opener. But at least it's something. I want to go back to what you said about Bronco and his ability to connect with players and get the most out of them. Because we're in this Wild West era. Whoever has the most money gets the best players. And you can't overcome someone who's offering 2 or 3 times as much money. But there's a story out. There's a website, Open Doors, which I've never heard of. It must just be brand new to deal with the whole NIL era and get people info and all that. And Football Scoop, that I follow because they have a lot of football coaching news, hires and fires and all that kind of stuff.
I'm aware of it, yeah.
They run a story, and the guy goes through, this Open Endorse took by conference and by position, what percentage of your money are you spending?
I saw that. Yeah.
The Big 12 spends the most money on quarterbacks by percentage of their budget, maybe not by total dollars, but they're invested in the quarterbacks, which is they point out in this Football Scoop story. Well, look at the quarterbacks the Big 12 has lined up, and are you surprised? You got a bunch of guys who are in their 3rd year in the program who've had success. Of course they're getting compensated. The Big 12 spending less on linemen. But to the point about Bronco, and really to a point about any coach, football or basketball, once you get past the money, how do you bond with your guys so they're not always wandering away thinking the grass is greener? Because there's one note in here, it's buried in here. The guy writes this story, he says, I would not have guessed that 2/3 of Power 4 football players earn less than $10,000 a year on the NIL market, though we are less than 2 months into the rev share era. Let's check back in a year and see how that number compares. When you're making that little money, and no one's going to sneeze about being given, $5,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 or whatever, when you got nothing, that's a lot. But I do think when the money's pretty comparable, okay, what level of loyalty is there to the coach? Do you believe the coach is making you better? Do you believe the coach is going to have you in an even better position, both as an individual and as a team in a year? When you get that kind of belief, then I don't think people are always gazing at the grass is greener. It's still the Wild West, and if someone doubles your money, you're out of there. So it's not like you're going to stop all the transfer portal, but maybe it'd be better if they had 45 new players instead of 70 new players. Maybe those 25 guys who stuck around and make a difference.
Yeah, I think this is a one-time situation, though. I don't think we're going to see 70 players every year for Bronco. I think the situation dictated it, brand new coach and all that type of thing. I think we've seen that with first-year coaches, particularly when the program has been struggling. So if, say, Utah has a really good season this season and Kyle says that's it, I don't think Morgan's going to come in and all of a sudden overhaul everything. But when you have these new coaches coming in these new situations and the program was down in that particular year or years, they go ahead and do that. So that's something that we see a one-time deal because BYU spoke about that. They went too heavy a couple years back with the new guys, and you have to have some type of camaraderie and chemistry together. And if you can augment it eventually, the 2 or 3 years down the road, the transfer portal, and go with your traditional forms of recruiting and developing guys, and that's where Bronco shines, is being able to develop guys and get them to be in a position to succeed once they learn what he's about and vice versa. And we'll see to what level he can do that this year.
I'll tweet that story out, so if you're into that kind of stuff, you can pour over it. When we come back, a big birthday, PK. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
You've been listening to The Zone for decades. Yes! But now you can watch the guys break down your favorite teams.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Catch the video stream of DJ and PK, Jake and Ben, Hanson Scotty, and JJ and Alex right now at KSLSports.com or by searching KSL Sports on YouTube. Utah's best sports radio is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Hercules First Federal Credit Union Salt Lake County High School Player of the Week this week is Brighton High running back Judah Valle. He tallied 33 carries for 235 yards and 5 touchdowns as the Bengals rallied from an early deficit for the 38-31 win over Weber. Don't miss the KSL Sports Game Night live game of the week tonight as the Roy Royals take on the Weber Warriors. You can catch the action tonight on KSLSports.com, the KSL Sports app, or here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Salt Lake County Player of the Week Award is proudly presented by Hercules First Federal Credit Union. At Hercules, they're celebrating the everyday victories. Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Hank Bachmeier's coming up, former Boise State, Louisiana Tech, and Wake Forest quarterback, older brother of BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier and BYU wide receiver Tiger Bachmeier. We will talk with him coming up at 9:30. Usually, we have Pablo Mastroeni on Fridays. Now, Pablo's not on this week for a couple of reasons. Number one, they don't have a game this week, and they don't have a game next week. They're in the middle of a 3-week break here for a couple of different reasons. And number two, PK, he's not on because it's Pablo's birthday. How about that?
So he can't come on his birthday?
Nope, can't do it. And the reason, I believe, is because he doesn't want us to sing to him. He may have been warned. That's it. I blame Trey. When in doubt, just blame Trey.
Come on, Feliz Cumpleaños. I would do it in multiple languages.
All right, we'll have that prepared, and we'll give him a belated birthday greeting when he comes on either next week or the week after. Pablo's 49, and I did careful math on that as opposed to earlier this morning. Just take whatever random incorrect answer I'm handed.
Right, yeah, I knew he was right in that age, right in the category of what A-Rod and Kalani are. Mm-hmm. And crazy, I don't know why I was thinking about this yesterday, but my first year on the Utah beat, Utah basketball in '93, a lot of those guys are about to turn 50. That just seems wild.
Classic. Alex Jensen's all grown up. What happened? He's got gray in his beard.
My guy, Al. My kid, Al. Covered him as a freshman. He would have been the next year. My second year on the beat. I was there Alex's first game, and I was there Alex's last game. And it's crazy. I say that same thing about Austin Ainge. Yeah. I was there covering a beat writer for his first game, and I was there covering his last game. I remember where both last games were for both guys, too. I was there. And here they are. And you've heard this said by many guys, non-gender specific, who have been in the business for a long time. You long since forget about rooting for teams, but what takes precedent is you root for individuals, people you've known for many, many years. And Austin Ainge and Alex Jensen fit that category.
The bias creeps in. Yeah, in this area, it sprints in. There's no creeping. Yeah. There's no creeping.
Right. And you end up, you root for those guys. And now they're home, too. A lot of times they're out of the way. Like I've known Dave Rice for a number of years, and so I had to root for UNLV when he was over there. He's come back, and he's coaching Salt Lake Community, obviously. Utah basketball just announced 3 more additions to their team. I think one of them was Frank Jackson's younger brother who played for the Bruins over there at Salt Lake. And it's just their roster has been put together, and away they go here in a few weeks officially. I mean, they're already here practicing, all that stuff. But now I got these guys that were kids, literally, when I covered them, and now they're in our community. I got so many people I have to root for. It's just, and it gets bigger every year, too.
I know. All right, DJ and PK, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, 9 o'clock hour. We got more on the season openers for the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. And then Hank Bachmeier coming up at 9:30. Stay with us right here on The Zone.